Are ducks becoming endangered because of duct tape?
Disaster in Duval.
Yesterday's over. Let's focus on today.
Hold up. It's the Chargers Squad. Everything Los Angeles Chargers every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from the City of Angels. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Get ready and squad up. It's the Chargers Squad Show, starting now.
Well, welcome into the Locked On Chargers Squad Show on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel. We're all feeling better because it's not Sunday anymore. And that page hopefully has been turned. Pete Fox, covering sports in LA dating back to 2007 for ESPN LA and NBC Sports Radio. KENJON BARNER, 10 years in the league, 3 rings. And Jim Daniels, covering sports in LA dating back to 2001, also for NBC Sports Radio. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet $5, and if that bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets. And we like to thank you for making us your first listen and the #1 sports podcasting network. Well, there was a lot of talk after that listless, flat performance from the Chargers against the Jacksonville Jags. And one of the funny takes I heard was, when you go to New York, it makes sense. When you go to Miami, it makes sense. When you go to LA, it makes sense. When you go to Vegas, it can make sense. New Orleans, Nashville. There's a lot of cities where there's stuff to do. What the hell were the Chargers doing or getting ready to do that had them so turned off and dialed out of this game? So it's a fair point. And I think we covered it, Jim, right after the game, that they were smelling the barn on the bye week a little too soon. As you watched that game, how frustrating were you that, the performance was completely lacking of all desire and energy?
It's a fun way to put it. When I was a child, I used to lead tourists on horseback rides, like 12 years old. And you have horses, absolutely, at the end of the day, they get that feeling. It's like, all right, I'm done walking this guy around. It's time to go home. And that's exactly what this had to be. I mean, they looked past it. This was a disaster for me. I was on the air in LA on Sunday, so I'm watching this play out on the phone. All right. So I'm sitting there trying to do my job at a radio station, and my phone just keeps blowing up. I look over there and it's score. I'm like, what in the hell is going on here? Before you know it, it's like 35-0. It's like, is somebody playing a joke on me? This can't be real. It was unreal to watch, especially without being able to hear any updates or see any television, and just watch it play out on the phone. It was surreal. It's like, I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah, KB, that was kind of the main thing. Your point after the game was that this was just an embarrassing lack of effort. And, looking at it now, a few days out, you have any better answers as to
No, I don't. I will on the bed that we laid on last week about this being embarrassing. We will wake up and stay in that same exact bed. We will not change the sheets, the pillowcase, the comforter. We are going to stay. This was just embarrassing. Again, this looked like a team that it looked like they had already wrote the ending, right? Like they had already rehearsed the celebration speech but they didn't earn the right to speak. It was puzzling to me because, again, Miami, Los Angeles, New York.
Right.
What are you doing in Duval? Right. Where's our focus? Where's our attention? What were we doing the night before that we woke up the following day and put this on film? This was absolutely it was embarrassing. It felt like a team that just put on a helmet and went out there to play. It didn't feel like a team that was on a mission.
Yeah.
That's simply what it was. They played with no urgency, no energy, no attitude. And it looked like it.
Yeah. It felt like also that on the other side of that, the Jacksonville Jags came out with a ton of energy and a ton of want to. And then when the Chargers got punched in the mouth, they were like, well, I wasn't expecting that. And then they just rolled over. And I think that's what it boils down to. They were like, this was without a doubt in the middle of the game, a turn the page moment. Like they were like, we're done. Like they rolled up their camp and were heading home in the middle of the game. And just had to get to the finish line somehow.
It looked like if you watched this game and you paid attention to it, it looked like this was one of those moments where you kind of with your friends and you like, yeah, y'all hungry? All right, let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this up. That's what it felt like. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely was a situation where there didn't feel like, let's circle the wagons and get back into this one. They were just like, yeah.
They got bullied. They got bullied. They got pushed around on both sides of the ball. It's the worst line play especially when you combine the two, because neither one of them could get the job done. You couldn't put any pressure on a guy that gets sacked like 4 or 5 times a game, and you couldn't get to this guy, and you couldn't protect your guy, and you couldn't figure out, well, maybe we ought to try and run the ball somehow, and you still refuse to run the football. Look, I understand that those guys have to open the holes, but you got to do something else. I mean, when I saw Herbie go to the medical tent, I said, there you go. There it is. There it is. Now what are you going to do the rest of the year? You can't protect this guy. You're leaving him out there hung out to dry. I mean, the coaching staff needs to be roasted over this as much as anybody. I mean, Greg Roman came up with 1 trip to the red zone. 1 all day.
Yeah. Exotic Vibe says, I still don't understand how they were so bad last week after being so good. Yeah, I don't think anybody does. I think the question becomes, do they at least understand? And maybe it's better if they don't, right? Because you don't want to get too much into the weeds on that terrible performance, right, KB?
I kind of think you have to a little bit. Like when you come out and you put a performance like that on film, like I need to understand why. I need to understand what was it about that week? What was it about our preparation that week? What was it that we did differently that we did not do the previous weeks of the season? What was it about us collectively as a unit that we didn't go out and put forth this looked like a team that was like, all right, we'll flip the switch eventually. And there's no switch to flip it. Here's the thing, there's no switch, it's only habits, right? And whatever you practice, whatever you rehearse is whatever you are. I used to have a coach that told me, whatever you practice Monday through Friday, that's what you will look like on Saturday. And so you kind of got to dive in. I want to know what practice was like last week. Because there's no way in hell that you went out and had great practices Wednesday, Thursday, got on Friday, got on a plane Saturday, and felt good about yourselves and go out and put that performance on film. There's been multiple times in the NFL where we've had some decent weeks of practice, but when we get to the game on Saturday and we get our head kicked in, we understand why. Like, yeah, we had a terrible week of practice. So sometimes you gotta dive a little bit deeper than washing it away and sweeping it under the rug, because you don't want this to repeat itself. And right now, this late into the season, you don't have time and you don't have the games ahead of you to allow this. You have 1 game ahead of you that you can maybe, come in and not be at your best, and that's against the Las Vegas Raiders. No disrespect, but a spade is a spade. You only have 1 game that you cannot play your best. Outside of that, you got to be at your best at all times.
Yeah, I think the good news is, this is what happened to them, kind of not nearly as bad, but, they got punched in the mouth against the Colts and then responded nicely against the Vikings. So we know that they have that in them, that ability to rebound and take a bad loss and turn it into motivation moving forward. But the problem becomes that the offensive line is still bad, not getting better. Penning was not an improvement. When you look at the PFF ratings for this offensive line, it's terrible. They're all bad. It's not just Penning. Penning is one of the worst. Bradley Bozeman is bottom 5 in the league. Mekhi Becton is getting pushed around a lot and is ranked very, very low. Zion Johnson's really the only guy that we don't jump on a regular basis. Jamari Sawyer, Trey Pipkins, Deculus is one of the worst. Yeah. So they thought putting in Penning over Deculus was going to be an improvement, and it wasn't. It was worse. So I look at it and I say, all right, and I feel like this hot topic. I mean, are we the only squad show on Locked On that spends this much time talking about the offensive line? We have to be, right?
Have to be.
It's such a topic.
We're talking about it more.
So it's very, very bizarre. But it's like you look at the offensive line and you say, what can they do other than just keep doing what they're doing and try to improve and duct tape it together, if you will, as they move forward. The good news is the Raiders are on the schedule coming up, and I feel like the line has got to just keep plugging away, and hopefully the coaching staff, Greg Roman, Jim Harbaugh, have come up with some sort of game plan that will minimize the impact of the offensive line on the success of this team. And one of the things I think will help them tremendously is Omarion Hampton coming back. But the question becomes, KB, you start, because I want both of your comments on this. With Omarion Hampton coming back off an injury with a banged up line, what sort of involvement do you throw on him if he's healthy?
First of all, you're coming back. I'm throwing the kitchen sink at you. That's the bottom line. I don't have a choice,
young fella.
Yeah, there's no choice. There's no other option. There's nothing that I need you now, and I need you now. I needed you yesterday. But when protection isn't great and you need a back that can make the first guy miss and you make the second guy doubt himself. He's a back that doesn't just move the chains. He's a guy that changes the tone of the game. That's what OMARION Hampton is. And so you literally, I gotta feed you. You know what we seen from him prior to his injury. We seen a dude that was coming on in a major way in his rookie season. We seen a guy that was getting 100-yard rush games and looking like a stud in the NFL. So I got to throw it all at you. I got to lean on you. And I hope that he's in enough I hope he's had enough conditioning to be able to sustain what this team needs from him, because the bottom line is we can't continue to sit back and drop back and try and pass the ball. I have to be able to run the ball. I have to be able to hand it to this dude and take some pressure off of that offensive line and off of Herbert, because at the end of the day, there's more openings on this offensive line than it is on LinkedIn.
It could be huge for them, Jim, right? To get him back and to lean. I agree with KB. You're going to have to lean on him. And I think that could be huge. I know you like to see a lot of touches, but is that what you're expecting against this Raiders team?
It has to be. You know what KB said, it's all hands on deck right now, and we're going to have to figure some stuff out. This is where Greg Roman's really going to earn his pay the rest of the season, is you're going to have to figure some stuff out here, pal, because what we're doing is not, especially if we're looking at last week. And you know, I think typically when you play a game like this, everybody from us all the way to the players, nobody wants to look at that film. It's like, wow, okay, let's just burn that. But you know what? I agree with Kenyon that, you know what, you need to look at that. You need to see what happened. And you need to go back further than that, talking about what kind of a week of practice did we have that we showed up and we played a game like that against an inferior opponent where we're supposed to be trying to get up, get an edge, and be ready for the rest of the season. I mean, it's an epic failure. And to think that Omarion Hampton is going to come back and save your butt is a reach. So, I mean, look, this is what you have. These are the bullets that are in the gun. But what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to get creative, and you got to get the ball out of Herbert's hands. He's got to quit taking the hits, or you're not going to have him at quarterback. Hampton, you're going to have to figure out ways to get him the ball. I mean, I don't know if it's bubble screens or if it's RPOs or whatever it is, but he's going to have to expect the ball in every way possible, because this is the hope of the offense going forward is going to land on his shoulders. I know that's a lot to put on a rookie, but you know what? That's the truth right now.
Does OMARION Hampton fix everything? He absolutely does not. No. But I said it earlier, he does change the tone of the game for the Chargers. He's a dude that runs angry. He finishes forward. He can make a bad call look like a good one. He can make a decent call look explosive. We've seen that. We've seen it live. We've seen it happen. We've seen him break long runs, score touchdowns. And I don't want to continue to beat down this offensive line, right? But when your offensive line is leaking like a bad air mattress, a physical, decisive back matters. He simply matters. You know, he's a dude that can force defenses in a conflict. He forces you to bring another safety down into the box because he can run the ball. He's physical. He's a dude that this offense needs badly. And so, again, I hope that his conditioning is up to par. If not, I'm going to give you all the conditioning you need come this game versus the Raiders.
Quick question before the break. Would it matter at all? Because I was reading today that Penning is not traditionally a tackle. He's more of a guard. So would it matter at all, KB, to move some of these guys around? To me, it seems like it couldn't hurt. Like, let's move Zion out and see what he does, or, you know, give Pipkin some more time. Or, I mean, Jamari Salyer is fourth on the depth chart. And I was like, really? It seems like
that's crazy. He wasn't that bad while he was in there. Like, right. He had his moments, right? So I think right now you have nothing to lose when it comes to that offensive line. You have to play musical chairs. I think back to Oregon last season, and those first 3 games of the season, they struggled heavily at the offensive line versus Boise State, Idaho State, and I'm forgetting who their 3rd game was, but it was ugly, and it left everybody kind of puzzled. But once they kind of transitioned and shifted guys around and moved Poncho to center, sometimes it takes a couple pieces to move and get put into the right place, and it numbs the pain. It makes it better. For Oregon, it was something completely different. It sparked them having an offensive juggernaut of an offensive line and being able to do things that they weren't able to do in those first 3 games. But I feel like, again, you have to play musical chairs and figure out who is who and what is what and where they do work well at.
All right, it's the Locked On Chargers Squad Show. We are still recapping a brutal loss to the Jags, and we're also looking forward, which we're going to do next. We got the Raiders coming up. We'll spend a little time on them, and then like the rest of the schedule, because that is important as we forecast the probability of this Chargers team making the playoffs. It's the Locked On Chargers Squad Show on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel. Pete Fox, Kenjon Barner, and Jim Daniels.
I'm Cody Rourke from Locked On Broncos, and this episode is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. This is Peloton's most advanced equipment yet, giving you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or you're cross-training with your favorite instructors like Alex Toussaint. It's training reimagined to make your workout more personal. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with features that help you plan, stay motivated, and hit peak performance. You can let yourself run, lift, flex, and go while Peloton handles all the rest. Plus, Peloton IQ provides real-time strength coaching, tracking your progress and suggesting weights that challenge you so you can get stronger. Plus, the new movement tracking camera, it counts your reps and corrects your form in real time, making sure every rep is safer and smarter. So let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
All right, it's the Locked On Chargers Squad Show on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel, the midweek edition. As we look at this schedule, we know the Raiders are up next. Before we start looking at them specifically, I start, I know that you guys, and I know you're probably incapable of this, KB, but I'm going to ask you to try. When you look at the 6 games that are on the schedule for the Chargers, because I know football players don't look past the next one, but we're going to look to the end of the season through all of these games that are coming up for the Chargers. And to be specific, I'll tell you what's on the schedule if you're not looking ahead, because I'm sure you're not. We got Vegas, and then we got Philadelphia. Both of those are home games. I feel like that's a 1-1. Beat the Raiders, lose to the Eagles. Then you've got at the Chiefs, at Dallas. I also feel like that's a win one, lose one. And then the last 2, Houston and Denver, I win 1, lose 1. So I'm looking at 3-3, and that's 10 wins, and that gets us to the playoffs, I think. KB, what are your thoughts?
I'm looking at that schedule, right? First of all, with these last 6 games of the season, I think the mindset and what has to, not even the mindset, what has to happen is you have to win the games that you're supposed to win. Mm-hmm. You can't have a hiccup. When you look at Raiders this coming week, that's a game that we should win. When you look at Philadelphia, even though it's on the road or it's a road game for them, like you said, I think that comes out to be 1-1. Now, when you get to the stretch with Kansas City and Dallas, what I seen from Dallas this past week, from their defense, they look scary. Yep. They look absolutely scary. What I've seen from Kansas City versus Denver, right? Kansas City is not, you've been saying this since the beginning, since season started. Kansas City isn't the Kansas City that we're accustomed to seeing. But you're at Kansas City, right? That could be a 2-game swing where we could potentially come out of that maybe 1-3. If we're being real, if we're being honest, because Kansas City is going to be looking to get some get back from the opening week of the season. We know what they're trying to do. We know what they're trying to accomplish, and it's on the road. And Arrowhead has not been a kind place for the Chargers. So that stretch, and then you get to Denver, you get to Houston again. I think Houston is a 50-50 game, right? It's not a game that you should win, but it's a game that you can win. That Denver game is going to be absolutely
crucial.
It's going to be crucial. And it's at Denver, but you're playing against the best defense in the NFL right now. When you look at that Denver team, you look at Bo Nix and the way that he's coming on, the way he's getting comfortable and delivering the ball to those receivers out there. You look at this defense and how each and every week it's somebody new that's stepping up for them and making plays. This last stretch, this is enough to keep you up at night. You know, this is enough to make things hard at home. Honey, what's wrong?
Jim, what about this theory? Someone brought this up after the Jags lost. I appreciate this person, whoever said it, because they were definitely trying to find the silver lining and be positive. But they were like, hey, man, we're still 4-0 in primetime games. Okay, that's fair. And that Philly game is primetime. That's Monday Night Football. And it's at home. It's a home game. So that's good. I mean, maybe they win both of those games, Raiders, Philly. Philly's, obviously a very, very good team and much better than the Chargers are, but anything's possible, I guess.
Anything is possible.
Football. What do you think, Jim?
Look, I expect bounce back after this. And KB, I'm going to go to you and ask you this question too. When you're playing and you put up a game like the Chargers just did, and then you go on bye, now you got all that time to sit and think about that. Is that a good thing or a bad thing to have all that extra time to think about what you just did?
It's two sides to that coin. Sometimes you don't want to sit in that, right? Sometimes you wish you had a game that following week to get that bad taste out of your mouth. And sometimes a game like that sitting in it can ignite a fire up under you. I was a guy where if we had a terrible game like that, I don't want no time in that. Like we played Sunday, let's play again Monday. Let's get this taste out of our mouth. So it really depends on the temperament of the locker room. And at the end of the day, you got to respond. You have to respond and you have to be better than what you were. Sometimes, again, it's good to get that bad taste out of your mouth sooner than later. Unfortunately for the Chargers, they didn't have that opportunity because of a bye week. But again, this allowed them to get healthy, right? Get some time off your feet. Hopefully, we don't know what their bye week looked like. But hopefully they were able to get off their feet, get healthy, and be able to shake back and bounce back. And look, you got the Raiders. You should get the taste out of your mouth. This is not a good NFL football team right now. They don't have a run game. Geno can't get it done. He has no time. Look, we talk about our offensive line a lot, right? Mm-hmm. That same conversation is being held out there in Vegas.
Yeah, it is.
They might be worse than ours. And I you know what? I'm gonna go out and say it. I believe their offensive line is worse than ours.
Yeah, I think so.
Absolutely. Look, when you look at Genty's getting hit behind the line of scrimmage almost on every carry. I think I seen a stat. I think he's averaging 1.2 yards before contact is being made with him. Wow. Kamani Vidal is doing much better than that. Okay, yeah. It's not the greatest, but listen, sometimes you got to be thankful for what you have and grateful for what you don't have.
Yeah. Yeah, I think to speak the rest of this to the schedule, though, you need to be very careful with this Vegas team. Yeah, they do have a bad offensive line, but this is that caged animal corner dog thing. I mean, we kind of ran into that a little bit in Jacksonville. They needed to win that game. This is a home game that they want to stay in the conversation. You better beat the Chargers today. And they took it serious and they got the job done. Now, I don't know that the Raiders have the ability to rise up offensively like Jacksonville did. And I can't believe those words came out of my mouth. But you know what? I mean, on any given Sunday, man, so you need to be careful with this Raider game. You better be prepared and better get in there and get the job done against this Raider game because you're very likely losing the game to the champs, to Philadelphia. And that last game of the season, man, that's going to be all hands on deck. And that may decide whether or not you go to the playoffs when you get there. So you better take care of your business against that Houston team that can't figure out which guy they're going to run at you at quarterback. They have a subpar running game, but they have a great defense. I think that's a game that they can win, and I think they're going to have to win. And they're going to need 10 wins, I think, to get into the playoffs. And that's going to be tough to get 3-3 in the next 6. I think that's going to be a challenge.
It is. But listen, at the end of the day, obviously we have to talk about who we're playing, right? That's the job description. But going inside that locker room and being a player and a coach, this game, these last 6 games aren't about anybody else but us. This is about us locking in on who we are. It's about playing, winning the winnable games, protecting the football. It's about our defense showing up. The defense is the lead dog on this team, so I need you to be that. I need these last 6. This stretch is about guys looking in that mirror, coaches looking in the mirror, and then coming together collectively and listen. Who are we and what do we want to be? We have the opportunity to write the script for these last couple of games and make it what we want to make it. But it's entirely up to us. Your opponents are going to do what they're going to do. Your job is to know who you are, know what you want to do, and go out and execute it. And again, identity. What is your identity? What is the Chargers' identity in this current state? With a bad offensive line, with a quarterback who's been in the MVP discussion, getting your running back in Omarion Hampton, getting some health, a defense that should be one of the top. What is your identity? Like, what are we going to do? When you look at playoff teams and championship teams, they don't go out. It's not a question of what we're going to do. It's knowing what we're going to do, doing it, and you having to stop it. And that's what we don't know about this Charger team. We don't know what our identity is. We don't know exactly what we want to do because we said it after the game. It changes every week. It's a different team. And so it's about establishing these last 6 games. You have to establish your identity.
Well, I think then you look at these Raider numbers and maybe they don't focus on these, because sometimes that's what frustrates me even more. Like when you knew that the Jacksonville Jags pass defense was terrible, and they still couldn't do anything passing the ball. That's what had me super frustrated in that loss. In addition to the fact that they couldn't stop the run, they couldn't do anything. Obviously, we've covered that. But you look at the Raiders numbers, their offense is very bad. 30th in the league in total yards, 269. Their rushing game is 29th in the league. Their points for is 31st in the league. So, all very low towards the bottom. Now, on the other side of the things, the Raiders defense is a little better, not much. 15th in total yards allowed at 331, points allowed 25th in the league. And overall, they are 20th in points allowed and 15th in yards allowed. So they are a team that is definitely better on defense, but they don't have any really high powered numbers where at least, you look at the Jags and you think, well, their run defense is very good. Their whole defense decided to show up on Sunday. So this Raiders team, they're not they don't have even one area where you're like, well, that's something they can hang their hat on. But I look at all of those things and I think what Kenyon just said, Jim, is very accurate, that this team needs to look in the mirror, not look at across the table. They don't need to worry about, because I feel like if you got into a conversation with anybody on the Chargers or any of the coaching staff and say, what do you think about this Raiders team? They would say, we need to worry about us, not about them. And if we go out and do our thing, play our game, we should be fine.
Yeah. And I thought this was going to be a defensive team. I mean, they look at Herbert and they think, okay, and maybe it goes all the way back to Eric Coryell. They just, this is just what the Chargers do, is they air it out. They throw the ball. But you know what? I think Kenyon even said this, is that early on in the season, this was a defensive team. This is what it was looking like. It was shaping up. I mean, they were pushing people around and looking like that's what it was going to be. And, when the defense pushes the other team around, it gets you in better situations offensively. And I think you're able to more freely do things that you want or like to be able to do. Now, being handcuffed in the running back situation, I'm not going to blame too much on Hampton's injury, because he came up with Kamani Vidal and he wound up doing some good things. But yeah, they've lost their identity as to figure out what they want to hang their hat on, who they want to be, and you're going to have to decide that real quick. Look, we should win the Raider game. That should happen because their numbers are that bad. But boy, better be careful. I mean, Max Crosby is probably one of the most unhappy guys in all of football. And, he wants to be on the highlight reel on Sunday as the guy that took down the Chargers.
So then that brings up an interesting question. I hate to be negative, but what if they lose that game? Is the season over?
Do we want to
I got one person in the chat here that says of these final 6, they win 1. I think that's kind of on the negative side, but if you don't beat this Raiders team, the challenge becomes a whole lot bigger.
Well, it's even worse if you lose this game, because that means you would put up back-to-back horrible games, because you're going to have to play horrible to lose to the Raiders. And that means you took 2 weeks off and you came back and that's what you did. Yeah, they lose to the Raiders. It is over.
Yeah, we talked about this earlier in the year after that Colts loss, right? About coming into that Minnesota game and those Tennessee games being must wins because of what you had coming up following that Tennessee game in Pittsburgh, right? When you look at that schedule, again, if you lose this game, it's ugly. It's an uphill battle that you don't have the proper footwear to really go up that hill. Again, Philly, Kansas City, Dallas, Houston, Denver. Those are all that 1-6 statement. That's not something that's crazy. That's something that could happen if you don't take care of business. Because again, it'll be interesting to see how this team comes out, right? Because what does losing to that Jacksonville what did that do to you? Some of those certain losses can either make you or they can break you. I'm gonna keep going back to college ball. When we look at that Ohio State team from last season, right? That championship winning team, that Michigan game that they lost, it turned them into something. It created a monster. It created a national championship team. So when you look at this Charger team and the way that you played and the way that you went out, what does that Jacksonville Jaguar loss do to you? And if you come out and you don't beat this bad Las Vegas Raider team, caught myself, and you don't beat this bad Las Vegas Raider team, what does that do to the morale of this team? Are you mentally tough enough to climb out of that hole? And here's the thing: Chip Kelly used to say this, and no pun intended, him being there out in Vegas. The key to getting out of a hole is stop digging, put the shovel down. And so we need the Chargers this game. Put the shovel down. You dug a hole last week. You can't afford to go deeper. We just can't, because the remaining games on this schedule, the odds are not in your favor.
Big Sherm has an interesting question, which we're going to touch on after the break. It's the Locked On Chargers Squad Show on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel, where you find Daniel and David Monday through Friday with the Locked On Daily Chargers podcast. Make sure you check them out. All right, today's episode of the Locked On Chargers Squad Show is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better way to get in on the action than with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live action, everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. And if you don't know what live betting is, it's a bet that you make after the game has started and you are off and rolling. So you can kind of see the tone of the game and figure out if your hot player is going to be, or your favorite player is going to be hot that night. So it keeps the game exciting, especially when your team's making a late push. And another cool thing about the live bets with FanDuel is you can combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. So right now, new customers to FanDuel can get $300 in bonus bets when your first bet is a winner. Got to be a $5 bet, and you got to hit it. So make sure you put in the amount of research that is needed to hit that first bet. Hopefully beginner's luck will pay off for you there. It generally does when it comes to this stuff. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up now and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, it's the Locked On Chargers Squad Show on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel. Here is Big Sherm's question. By the way, I like that handle, Big Sherm. Would you rather make it to the playoffs, win one game, and exit, or would you rather make it to the Super Bowl and get embarrassed like the Chiefs did last year in a blowout fashion? I'll start. I don't think the Chargers are making it to the Super Bowl. So I know he's maybe speaking generally, but specifically to this Charger team, I think getting to the playoffs would be a victory. And if you're there to win a game in the playoffs this year, that would also be a victory, because it would be the first playoff victory for Justin Herbert. So of those two options, I would rather win one game and exit. KB.
Listen, playoff is about legacy. And each player, I remember Steve Smith said this to me my rookie year, 2013, with the Carolina Panthers. Guys don't make it to the playoffs. The amount of guys that have played this game and that have been great have never tasted a playoff. There's a huge number of those guys. And so I would much rather get to the playoffs, and if I lose, I lose. But at the end of the day, how many guys go through their career and never see it, never make it? Let alone get to the Super Bowl. Obviously nobody wants to lose in the Super Bowl game, but that's legacy. You know what I'm saying? I made it there. I got there. I know what it looks like. I know what it feels like. Yeah, I didn't get it done, but I went. I've been there. That's something that a lot of guys can't say. I look at a lot of these guys on these podcast shows. I watch Gilbert Arenas, his podcast, right? And Nick Young and Gilbert Arenas and Kenyon Martin, they always go at it, and Nick Young will say, "Do you know what it looks like, or do you know what it feels like to be in a final? Do you know what that feels like?"
I bet
oh no, oh no, you don't. You don't. Oh, you don't even. What's your warm up before a finals game? Oh, you've never been there. So so it's about being there. It's about getting there. It's about experiencing. So listen. Only one team is going to be a Super Bowl champion at the end of the year. Everybody else is trying to fight to get there. So I'd rather be in the fight than rather be on the outside looking in.
Yeah, I'm going to pile on and say I want to get blown out in the Super Bowl, because I want to know what it's like to go to a Super Bowl. I want to know what it's like to go all the way through the gauntlet to win to win the conference, have the 2-week party that leads up to it. And, I've heard so many players say that, and especially maybe usually guys that are still sitting in the sweat of defeat say that it's better to never go than to lose one. I think that's an individual thing. Yeah. That's not the way I feel. It's like I said, I want to win my conference. I want the 2-week party, and then we'll go to the game and we'll see what happens. I mean, this is teams football, the ultimate team sport. I mean, you've got to, because so many people can't understand. They don't really understand the mechanics of how the game works under the offensive line that we talk about all the time. It's like you take away a couple of key pieces, you can't do anything that you want to do. You can't protect people to throw. You can't open holes to run. You lose a couple of key guys on the wrong side, and that's it. You're done. So, to have everything go right for you to get all the way to the Super Bowl, I'll take that.
Yeah, maybe I'm misunderstanding the question, because those are very good arguments. But I look, if you give me those two options I just don't think the Chargers have a chance to make it to the Super Bowl. So yeah. I would, if they could get one playoff win, but generally speaking, yes, absolutely. What you guys just said is 100% accurate and right. You would rather get there, because getting there is half the battle. Because I don't think you look at the Chiefs and they don't feel embarrassed. They lost that game and it was one-sided, but getting there is a thing, and it's valuable. They're not like, well, we got to the Super Bowl and got our butts kicked, so I'm ashamed. No, it's still like the one thing that I learned covering professional sports, Jim, and you can attest to this, that the players feel very differently about success compared to the fans, right? Oh boy, the fans have a black and white view of it. The players do not. They have different goals, and we don't know what they are. And they could get to the Super Bowl, get their butts kicked, and still have met all of their season-long goals and feel like, hey, this was a success for me. So I had to change my perspective through my reporting career, because I look at it, I looked at it the way a fan would. And then when you're there and you're talking to these guys, that's not how they can't afford to do that. They can't afford to be all or nothing on every game, right? Or be so negative after a loss, because part of being a great professional athlete, KB, is that ability to put it behind you, not let it affect you, let mistakes slide off your back, and not let it change your performance. And I think that's a huge part of playing professional sports that the regular fans don't understand. It's like you have to be able to just forget about it and move on, and therefore the pressure doesn't affect you as much. But with this one, I think it's different. I think the Chargers, as we've said, need to soak in this one a little bit, and hopefully it is a motivating factor that turns them around and ignites a fire under their butt, and they come out with a different energy and a different sense of purpose.
I couldn't have said that any better. In this game of football, you have to have short-term memory. Mistakes, fumbles, interceptions, losses, even the wins, right? Even your successes, it has to be water off of a duck's back. You got to take it in and let it go. You can't allow it to take you under. So you said it absolutely right and hit the nail on the head with that.
So we got Vegas that hopefully goes the way it should, and then Philly on Monday night. Philly is 8-2 right now. Their last 4 have been wins. Let's look at those real quick as we're jumping ahead. KB can just sit out because I know he's incapable of jumping ahead of one game.
Oh no, listen, I'm ready to jump.
Usually players are like, I don't know. I don't know.
Call me the jumper. I'm ready to jump.
I don't know how to do that. So let's look at the last four against for the Eagles. They beat the Giants 38-20. They beat the Packers 10-7. They beat the Lions and the Vikings. So two very good wins over the Lions and the Packers, and two not so good wins. So I look at that and go, if the Chargers are able to pull that one out, that would be a huge upset and a huge win for them in their confidence. And, they could then go on a little run coming off of that one. They beat the Chiefs again. Why not? Chiefs are beatable. So
I don't have my sights set quite that high. They're the champs. And KB was talking a minute ago about teams that flip the switch, and those guys, they have that flip the switch look to them more than anybody else. Like, okay, turn it on now and we'll win. No, I'm hopeful that the Bolts can go in there and win that game in Kansas City. I want to sweep Kansas City on the season. I want to be the one that puts them on the sideline. I mean, yeah, you've got to take care of your business with this Raider game and get that win. Then you got to deal with Philadelphia and whatever comes with that. But for me, the thing on the schedule is that Kansas City game. These guys can be had this year. They're another team that two in a row that have that flip the switch mentality. We are that good. We have that coach. We have everything that we need. All we got to do is flip the switch and we'll be okay. And they don't physically, verbally say that in the front of their head, but that's the attitude. That's what they project. That's what they look like. And they can be had. They've already shown that they can be had. For me, this is the key game, and what's left in the schedule is that Kansas City game.
KB, as a former Eagle, I mean, you got to pay attention to them. I know it's probably
absolutely.
DNA. So, like, those last two wins for them are huge.
Absolutely, and they haven't been playing that well. They have a lot of internal turmoil going on right now. With AJ and they got a lot going on over there right now. So for them to even, despite all of the unhappiness that's floating around in the air out there, they're still able to find ways to win, despite what's going on. But they have huge wins. And again, this is the reigning champs. This is a team that has proven that they can go out and get the job done. And it doesn't matter what they're facing. When we look at this schedule, in all reality, every game matters, right? But there are certain games that matter more. This Oakland game, this Kansas City, and this Denver game are the most important games on the schedule. I don't care if you lose against Dallas, you lose against Houston, you lose against Philly. Yeah, you don't want to lose, but okay. But if you lose against Vegas, that's in division. If you lose against Kansas City, that's in division. If you lose against Denver, that's in division. So if you can take care of those three games, you're still fine. You're still looking at the play. You're in the playoffs. You win your division. So in all reality, there's three games. Really, one. It has to be a one-game season starting with. If you lose to Vegas, yes, the season's it's done. So it's a 3-game season for me. Those 3 games, you want to beat Philly, you want to beat Dallas, you want to beat Houston, but at the end of the day, you got to take care. You got to take care of what matters at home.
Well, if the Chargers defense could show up against Philly, because these last 2 games were not high-scoring games, if they can make it a low-scoring, ugly game, they might be able to pull it out. They did lose to the Giants, which the Giants beat
we
the
did
Chargers.
too. We did too.
I know, but they're still not good. I feel like that game has to be low scoring, and then conversely, the Raiders game has to be high scoring. I feel like they have to come out and put up some points. You don't want to win an ugly one against the Raiders, but hey, we'll take whatever it is, right? A win is a win.
That again, that Philly game, right? When you look at Philly has their offensive struggles, but one place they aren't struggling is defensively. This is tricky. It's a little tricky out here.
Well, look, to the Chargers, their tendency, right, has been to be, they're a different team every week. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, sometimes they score, sometimes they don't. So that could very well happen. They could come out and play great offense and beat the Raiders comfortably and get some confidence back, and then go out there and shut the Eagles defense or shut the Eagles offense down by playing good defense, and then figure out a way to score 12 points, right?
Yeah. You cooking today, okay, Pete? You cooking. This has to be, the defense has to take charge. That's the bottom line. The defense has to play beyond expectations to keep this offense in the game. This defense needs to go out and be the defense that we know in order for us to do anything. Because if the defense doesn't show up, we don't stand a chance. I don't think we have the offensive line to get in a shootout with anybody and go out there and stay in the game. So this last portion of the season is on the defensive shoulder, in my opinion.
Hey, one more thing on Philadelphia, Kenyon. How much of this HA stuff is just smoke? I mean, I'm all
none of it. None of it. No, it's really? None of it smoke. It's for AJ. This isn't something that just started happening this season.
Oh no, I understand that. You know, I'm just, you're winning. You're accomplishing what you want to. Yeah, you're not getting the headlines of the touchdowns, and I just got to wonder if that's smoke. You know, hey, look over here, look over here, look over here, while I beat you over here.
Because here's the thing: no player, no coach is going to create a distraction for their team for it to be there, to be a distraction that, oh, this is what do they call it? Look at my right hand so you don't see what my left hand is. Right. That's not this case. This is a genuine case of a player that, despite the success of the team, is unhappy. AJ was a premier receiver in this league. When you go back to his Tennessee Titan days, you talked about him being amongst the best in the game. And so when you go from that, when you go from getting all these targets, when you go from being the guy and you become a part of a team to where now you feel like you're just a part of the team, that's a hard pill to swallow for a guy, right? So none of this is fake. This is all genuine feelings of what AJ feels. Yeah, he goes out and, they still win games, but there's clearly tension. There's clearly beef between offensive coordinator, quarterback, and AJ. And that goes back to last season. These are the same conversations that were being had last season, but yet they still found a way to win the Super Bowl. So again, this is a capable team, but I don't think any of these are smoke and mirrors. I think this is all very real, and a player that's tired of having the same conversations and repeating himself about the same, not feeling like he's a part of the team.
Well, and somebody's going to wind up being moved off the team this year. I think they probably had enough, especially if they're winning and he's got, you got to get rid of him while you can get something for him.
And it will be AJ
and trade away the future. I don't want to put Michael Parsons on you here, but you've had your run with AJ, and probably time for somebody younger anyway.
Well, there's one thing that's AJ. That's not something the Chargers are dealing with. I guess that's a positive.
That's a great thing,
right? There's no drama. I do feel bad for Jose, who is just I feel like he's keeping him up at night. I'm worried about Herbert getting injured against the Eagles or the Texans and losing him for part of next year. Well, I'll tell you who's not worried about that, Jose, is Herbert. He's going to go out there and he's going to do his thing, and that's good for the Chargers. Oh, more from Jose. Herbert just got sacked at Costco during the bye week.
That's crazy.
Must be at my Costco. It's so
crazy.
Never a day off at my Costco. But Herbert is going to keep doing his thing. He is, without a doubt, a gamer. And I know that some people don't like that term. What's a gamer? Well, it's kind of like what's that description, that old adage about pornography? I don't know how to describe it, but I know it when I see it. That is
where are we going?
It's just an old saying that people say. I feel like Justin Herbert is a gamer, and I don't know how to describe it other than when you see it, you know what it is. He's a guy that is going to put on his helmet, strap it up, and go out there and give you 100% every single time he's on the field. And even though this last game, he didn't even throw for 100 yards and everyone was mind boggled by that, I still felt like he was giving us everything he had.
Absolutely.
Right? So I don't put this loss on him at all.
Not 1%. No,
I feel like he's going to come out with a different, the same sort of energy, because he was probably the only guy you could argue gave us everything that he had in that loss. So coming out against the Raiders, I feel like he's going to do the same thing, and he's going to go out there and balls to the wall, as they say, and 100%. And he doesn't have another gear; he's got a switch. It's either on or it's off. And generally speaking, it is on. So that's good. That's good for the Chargers. I don't think, my point to Jose ultimately is, I don't think you should worry about him getting hurt because he's not worrying about it, and that's a good thing, right? It is.
Look. This is what I'm gonna do for Jose. I'm gonna be in Eugene this week, and if Herbert's here, I'm asking him, hey, Are you worried about getting hurt, my guy? And when I report back, I'm gonna have an answer for you, Jose. We'll give you the answer from the horse's mouth.
Good. And speaking of Eugene, what do we got for a spread on that game there?
Ducks by 1 million.
Let's see. It's gonna be a good game. Come on now. It's gonna be.
I think it'll be a good game for a little bit. Listen, it's gonna be cold. Them Southern California boys not ready for this cold. It's gonna be cold up there in Eugene. It's gonna be cold. Ain't gonna be no sunshine. What's my Bill Weathers? Ain't no sunshine when she gone. Okay.
I love that song.
Yeah. It's not warm when she's away. Yeah.
Let's go.
I don't have the damn spread anywhere. Oh, come on now.
It's not up.
No, it's not.
It gotta be.
It's gotta be.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
Ooh, Oregon by 9.5.
Yeah, that went up. That went up because before I think it was like, wasn't it? I think it was like 7.5, 6.5 before that.
Wow.
So the question is, what happened?
59. Yeah,
I'll tell you what happened. It's USC. That's what happened.
Yeah, well, look, USC's they've been playing okay. Their passing game is phenomenal.
They got some great receivers. They got two great receivers, and they got a great back.
Lemon. I mean, is he a first rounder? No doubt.
Listen, he has to be. Yeah. If he's not, I'm wondering what they see, what they don't see.
In front of him.
So we're talking. This is, and I'm giving you guys stuff that I haven't even put on the podcast yet. I'm worried about this game because Oregon has yet to face a high-powered offense like USC presents. With them two receivers and that running back, we haven't faced receivers like those guys, and we haven't faced a back like them. So if it can get tricky. But one thing for certain, two things for sure: USC can't stop the ball, can't stop the run game. And so, based off of what we've done over the last couple of weeks with them, with Jordan Davison, with De'Ara Hill, and Noah Whittington, listen, if it comes down to it, put the ball on the ground and let's run this thing.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun game. I think King Miller's been good, but at the end of the day, he's a true freshman. So
yeah,
they're lucky to have, kind of like the Chargers. There's some definitely some similarities between these two teams. Like Kamani Vidal stepped in there and has done well. King Miller is for the Trojans. So it's gonna be fun, and hopefully the bye week is helpful for the Chargers. So that's going to do it for us here on the midweek Locked On Chargers Squad Show. We'll be off next week as well for the bye, and we'll be back with you guys on Sunday, the 29th, to break down the Locked On Chargers Squad Show after the game against the Raiders, which is a 1:15 kick. So we'll be here right afterwards on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel. For Kenjon Barner and Jim Daniels, I am Pete Fox. We thank you guys for watching. Thanks for listening and appreciate the comments. Enjoy the rest of your week and have a good time with the bye. Take a few days off. Disengage from football. It'll be helpful to you. Promise.